namely that antidepressants often do not do what they promise and are in fact causing harm to many.
Dr. Steve Hotze is suing over Obamacare's employer mandate.
It's time for a wellness revolution. Brought to you by Hotze Health Wellness Center. Honest discussion on maintaining health and wellness naturally to enjoy a better quality of life.
He's the doctor fighting to let you keep your doctor.
Now, Dr. Stephen Hotze.
Welcome to Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. I'm Stacey Banfield here with Dr. Stephen Hotze, founder of the Hotze Health Wellness Center. So excited to have y'all here with us today. And a reminder that anytime you want to download our podcasts, all you have to do is go to hotzepodcast.com. That's HOTZE podcast.com. Well, a lot of people don't pair hospitality with the medical profession, Dr. Hotze. I know that when I would used to see just a regular doctor, I remember the frosted window and the waiting room and the old magazines from 15 years ago and having to wait for years and years and years before being seen. So I think that that's kind of the image people have when they think about going to see the doctor. Oh, and then when you do get into the waiting room, you have to wait another long time. And then finally, when you see the doctor, it's for 2 minutes. That's kind of what it's all about. But how are we changing things, Dr. Hotze?
Well, I'm glad you asked, and I'll tell you a funny little story. When I opened up my first medical practice, it was on the North Freeway in the north side of Houston, and I opened up my practice, and I received at my home a large brown carton, a large brown box, that had come from my mother-in-law, and I opened it up, and it was full of old magazines, and she said every doctor's office needs to be filled with old magazines.
Old magazines. That's classic.
The way I tell this to our staff, the way we treat our guests, and we call our patients guests, soon they'll be called members, but the way we treat our guests here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center is as important, if not more important, than the treatment we prescribe. You might go like, think about this. What does everybody want? Everybody wants to feel like they belong to somebody somewhere and somebody cares about them, that somebody listens to them and takes their complaints and symptoms seriously and doesn't dismiss them as like, here goes another one of those, who understands them and who can affirm them that, hey, I understand how you feel. We've listened to thousands of other individuals just like yourself with very similar problems, and we can get you on a path of health and wellness. We're going to make some recommendations. I always consider our guests as being our health athletes. We're the health coaches, and we want them to be they are in the Health Olympics, whether they like it or not. We want them to win a gold medal. Of course, if you know anything about coaching, coaches make recommendations. If you have a physical coach at a gym, or if you've got a piano coach or a speech coach or writing coach, they make recommendations, but they don't do the work for you. So the heavy lifting is part of the guest's responsibility, but we're here to coach and to lead them on the way. So back to providing extraordinary hospitality and guest service. That's what we believe is so essential and what separates us from all our competition, anybody that is out there in the medical field. And that's because in 1997, we decided we're going to get out of the practice of medicine. That's right. We're not going to practice medicine primarily at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. Now, that sounds absolutely crazy. The president of our company, his name is Monica Ludicky, and she and I read a book and listened to a book on tape called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I was listening to it with my wife Janie as we were driving from Denver to Beaver Creek to a friend's destination wedding for his daughter. And on the way there, I'm listening to this tape on the E-Myth. And it's so resonant. And the E-Myth is the entrepreneurial myth. It's the idea if you open up a business, you're an entrepreneur. You're really not. You're working for yourself. You're chief cook and bottle watcher. You're doing the marketing. You're doing the sales. You're doing all the work. You're figuring the books. And that's what it is when you're a 1 or 2 or 3 person operation. Mm-hmm. It falls on, me as a doctor. It fell on me to do all these things. So the whole concept of this book was that to learn to work on your business or on your practice, and not work in it, but work on it to create systems and procedures that you can train your staff by which they can function during the day, and you can train other physicians and other healthcare specialists in your medical protocols, and then learn business systems and procedures to operate your practice in a business-like manner. Now, this may seem odd to some of you that I might say I'm a businessman. You go like, what? That's strange. How many doctors do you think, if you ask, are you a businessman? What do you think they would say? No, I'm not a businessman. I'm a doctor. Well, let's look at what a business is. A business is an activity that either purchases, sells, or buys goods or medical or services in exchange for money. Well, don't doctors provide services in exchange for money? Don't they get paid to do that? By definition, every doctor owns a business. He's a businessman. Just like every lawyer is a businessman. He's got to provide a service and get paid for that service to stay in business and make a profit doing it in order to grow the business. So it seems reasonable that if we run a business, we ought to operate it like a business. Does that make sense? So that means you have to have systems and procedures. So I'm listening to this tape and it's resonating with me. I call up Monica back here in Houston. I go, I'm on a phone. This is in the 1990s, 1997. I don't know what kind of phone we had back then, an old clunker, I guess. So I called her up and said, listen, you got to get this CD by Michael Gerber. Get it through Nightingale Conant. And she did. She listened to it. I come back, when I come to the office on Monday, she said, I've listened to it. I'm ready to go. And that next week, we took down our 5 staff members, and we went down to the Tremont Hotel in Galveston. And we spent a night there, and that was a Friday night. We spent all day Saturday writing out systems and procedures. How do you open the door? What is the code? How do you turn on your computer? What do you do? Every last detail, we wrote down our system. We had a little bitty book with little bitty systems and procedures. Now, as we've grown to well over 85 to 90 staff members, we have large volumes of systems and procedures, a whole system of medical protocols and business systems and procedures by which we operate our talent recruitment and development department, our marketing department, our sales department, our finance department, our primary health and wellness center with our nurses and our doctors, how we operate our vitamin store, Hotze Vitamins, and how we operate our pharmacy and how we compound our hormones. All these have systems and procedures to be able to make sure that we can take ordinary people with good attitudes and train them to do extraordinary things. And part of the concept in doing this is that we decided not only do we want to create this business model so that we treated our patients well and we had our systems down so things ran smoothly like a well-oiled machine, but we also saw in this book the concept of providing hospitality, extraordinary hospitality and guest service. And he mentioned the Ritz-Carlton as really the pinnacle of fine hotels at that time in the country. And so it came across our mind, and he said, everybody needs to think about themselves being in the hospitality industry, no matter what business you're in. And you said, well, that's a great idea. Why don't we get out of the medical business and get in the hospitality industry and provide extraordinary hospitality and guest service, and within that context, provide medical care? Now, that's a novel idea, isn't it? So that's what we've done. So we upgraded all our furnishings at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center years ago, and we continue to upgrade all the time. Fine wood floors, beautiful carpets, lovely paneling and molding, beautiful music. We have a concierge who sits in our reception area. We don't have a waiting room. We have a reception area that's lovely. Everything's lovely, even the private offices of our team members. You know, in some places, all the outside where the public is that comes in to use the business look good. In the back are all, they're metal chairs and metal desks and linoleum floors. We treat our staff with lovely accommodations as well. So we want to have beautiful accommodations here. And so when a guest comes in here, they feel and sense a different spirit about coming in. They walk in the office and go, there's just a calmness here. Mm-hmm. There's a spirit here that's wholesome, that's healthy. So Then we read a book, The Experience Economy, which was about Walt Disney and the experience that they provide people when you go there. So I think we know that it's so essential to provide the proper environment, the hospitality environment in which you can evaluate and make recommendations to treat your guests.
Well, we want people to feel special because they are special, and it goes back to what you said originally, Dr. Hotze. People want to feel like they're being listened to, that they're important, that they're acknowledged, and the surroundings reflect that attitude.
So that's how we differentiate ourselves, and we're going to train, Lord willing, over the next 3 to 5 years, 5,000 doctors who can help 3,000 patients, 3 million patients. We're going to train these doctors how they can transition out of insurance practice into a cash-based practice and create a hospitality environment for their guests. Remember, I told you this, is that I believe that every guest needs a doctor and a staff of professionals who will coach them onto a path of health and wellness naturally, so as they mature, they enjoy a better quality of life without pharmaceutical drugs. And you have to create the environment that provides confidence for the guests, because if we treated people like many doctors' offices treat people, and the rudeness that just some stories are just want to curl your blood, and the way the doctors talk to their patients, my goodness, they treat them like they're a bunch of imbeciles. Many of them do. Not every doctor. There are good ones out there I know that are nice, but I've just heard some horror stories. But if the guy's seeing a patient every 4 minutes,
it's hard to have a relationship.
It's just a grind. He's grinding it out, or she's grinding it out, and it's not good. So we believe this, that the way we treat our guests is as important or more important than the treatment we prescribe. Now imagine this. If you feel, we want people to leave the Hotze Health and Wellness Center feeling a sense of hope. We instill in them a sense of hope that, hey, these people really do care. I'm going to follow their recommendations. I'm going to try what they say. I believe in this. And they seem like they really mean it, and they're going to take care of me, and I want to follow down this pathway. So it gives them, and instills confidence in them. And in some way, when the mind's opened up and ready to receive, the guests do a whole lot better on their protocol. They just do better. They follow it. They're more compliant, and they feel like somebody's there to help them, give them a leg up and help them get their lives back. If we treated our guests rudely, yelled, cursed, screaming, and everybody was unhappy here, I could prescribe something that they may need desperately, but they're going to go, I'm just not going to take that. Or if I take it, I'm not going to get well. And they'll tell their body, I'm just not going to work. These doctors are rude. And so we have to open up those channels which come from the spirit, really, and from the soul. We got to get into a person's heart and soul to know that we care about them. And that's what providing extraordinary hospitality and guest service is all about. And I think every doctor's office, every business should operate that way.
Amen. Dr. Hotze, thank you for sharing all that with our audience. And if you've been tuning into this podcast and you want a different experience, you want to find out more about our center, then give us a call at 281-698-8698. That's 281-698-8698. We'd love to schedule a complimentary health consultation for you so you can find out more about what we do. Would also love to give you a complimentary copy of Dr. Hotze's best-selling book, Hormones, Health, and Happiness, and that explains more about the philosophy and how everything got started here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. So we do appreciate you tuning in today. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Thank you for joining us at Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution.
Information provided on this radio program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution Revolution radio program advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this radio program is at the listener's discretion.